Now let's dive and talk a little bit more about skill or will when it comes to prospecting before we kind of wrap up on the metrics piece. I want to touch bases on this because I know as some of you guys are watching this training, I hope you jot down some good notes from the last prospect and lead generation section. But before we kind of wrap that up, I really want to touch bases on your skill versus your will because I kind of get into this with agents all the time. They believe that this is more of a skill thing, but it's really not. Especially when you're like newer, you're intimidated when it comes to picking up that phone and making phone calls to people. But I want you guys to know and understand that real estate is actually only 15% technical. So you don't need to be overly skilled to start making phone calls, guys. Let me mute my video real quickly because I want to make sure you guys are fully diving in and hearing what I'm saying on this section. And I'm not trying to be harsh. So please hear me out because the next couple of slides may come off a little harsh. Real estate is 15% technical, so you don't need to be overly skilled to start making calls. How it works is that will set the will to do the efforts, the daily activities, essentially the things you can control through that. It's the only way you can actually develop the skill set. You can't show up in the world of real estate, not do lead generation, and expect to get better or taught how to lead generate, guys. You need the will set to develop the skill set. So let me say that again. You can't show up in the world of real estate and not do lead generation and expect to get better or taught how to lead generate. You need the will set to develop the skill set. If you don't have the will set, then you're never going to get the skill set. So, therefore, you probably should not be in the world of sales, period. If you don't at least have that will set. How many calls you make today, it's all in your control. And how much skill set does that really take? You make that decision. So why would you go and get a job where you can only get paid 2 times a month when you can get paid every single day in real estate? So Lisa is actually a Max coach, a Keller Williams coach, and she's up there. And I love how she put this together. So I had to throw this in this training because there's too many times that a lot of agents are not doing the prospecting activities because they think this is really a mindset thing that they can't make the calls because they don't have the skills. And they're not even willing to try. And that's really what I'm trying to say here. Even when I started out in real estate, I wasn't great at lead generating. I'm still not the best. But at the end of the day, I had the will set, and that will set will get you the results that you are looking for. Maybe you need a little bit more training around it, or maybe you need to call more people or lead generate longer so you can get the results. There are so many people that need help in real estate, and you need to make that basically have that will to say, hey, I'm going to be that person or individual that helps them. And whatever I don't know or I don't understand, I'm going to seek out and get help. Okay. So there can be no learning without action and no action without learning, guys. There can be no learning without action and no action without learning. So that doesn't just apply to real estate. That's just in general. There's probably not many industries where you can get the full entire training. Like you're going to learn everything in training. That's just not really how it works, especially not in sales. A lot of things you're going to learn on the job and while you're doing the job. Of course, there is some training that you will get done initially and you will continue to do throughout your career, but part of also learning and training is going to be in the field. A large part of it will. There are transactions that I work on to this day, and other agents and other mega agents work on to this day that are completely different or we've never experienced before. Even though we've been in the real estate game or we've done so many transactions, we feel like, oh, we've seen everything, but we haven't. There are still deals that I come across on other agents that are mega agents that are doing 100, 200, 300 deals, a year. And they still like, oh my gosh, this is they still run into deals and transactions that they've never experienced or seen before. So that's just part of the nature of being in real estate and being in sales and being a business owner, guys. So the moment you've learned that and understood that, I feel like you'll be able to grow at the level you really would like to in this industry. Now, How often are you personally reviewing the metrics? So we're going back to the metrics, guys. Effort metrics versus results effort metrics. Do you know your priorities each and every day? And of those priorities, what must get done each day, no matter what? And if judging by effort, how are you personally performing right now? If you have a team, how is each agent performing with respect to the effort metrics in comparison to everyone else? Or in comparison to the goals that you set out for them and even they set out for themselves? And what is that story telling? Now, if you're brand new, you may not be able to fully judge your efforts as of right now. But as time goes by, it is definitely good to take this training again, review this section again, at least if you don't review everything else, at least review the prospecting and marketing activities, because that is the 20%. And really sit down and judge, how you are personally performing after you've got into production. And be honest with yourself about it. Because again, you're telling some type of story. And again, you want to truly change your behavior. That's what it's all about. You don't want to spend time and money or anything if you're not going to actually say, hey, let me go ahead and implement some of these, some of the things that I'm learning. Your success is in your daily habits. Remember that. And in order to get paid just like you did in your 9 to 5, and again, in the world of real estate, we want to make sure you don't get paid 2 times a month. We want to make sure you get paid every week or every day if you can. In order to get paid, at least like your 9 to 5 at the minimum, you had to show up and do the actual work, right? So remember that as a business owner, let's not become undisciplined or less disciplined. The key to life is action, movement, along with the discipline piece as well. And we are going to talk about that in the accountability section, more about showing up for yourself the same way you showed up or you are showing up for the current job that you're at. If you're a dual agent, if you were an agent, maybe you were dual at one point or you had another job before you jumped into this industry. We also want to have conversations around how you can show up the same way that you showed up for somebody else's job, somebody else's business, basically somebody else's, wealth. How you can show up more for you and building out your legacy and your wealth. Remember, you can't talk your way out of problems you behave yourself into. I had to throw this in there before we wrap up this section of the prospect and lead generation, because you got to remember your success is in your daily habits. So if you haven't read the book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, I definitely encourage you to go ahead and get that book. It's a great book. When it comes to and talks about, that discipline piece and, our behaviors, changing our behaviors as well. The habits that we have, that we do everything that's causing us to be wherever we're currently at in life. So you can't talk your way out of problems you behave yourself into. All right. So I'll see you guys in the last section for prospecting and lead generation. We're actually going to go over prospecting versus marketing. All right. I'll see y'all in the next section.